everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner looking to truly understand the nuts and bolts of product management, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going after a brutally honest goal. We're going to completely shatter the glamorous illusions of entry-level product management. So if you've just landed your first associate product manager role, you updated your LinkedIn title, bought that nice new vest, and you're ready to march into the office tomorrow to dictate the future of your company's product strategy, well, let me just stop you right there. Please put the roadmap down. Okay, let's dive into this. The tech industry absolutely loves to sell this glamorous idea, right? That product managers are the CEOs of the product. It's literally everywhere. But as an entry-level APM, that is a complete myth. It makes new grads think they're going to be these grand visionaries on day one. But honestly, you are not there to reinvent the wheel right out of the gate. So here's your cold water reality check. You don't make decisions. The reality is that the APM role is way less about strategic ownership and pretty much entirely about learning core product skills through raw, unfiltered execution. You are the execution backbone of the product team. Your job is turning someone else's strategy into structured action. If you walk into an APM role expecting to call all the shots, I guarantee you will burn out in 90 days flat. No question.
Section 1. Agitation. Glamour versus the grind. Just look at this stark contrast between expectations and reality. On the left, we've got the fantasy, right? Pitching exciting new AI features to the board, dictating strategy, owning that shiny new roadmap. And on the right, the actual reality. Your day-to-day work is a relentless grind of documentation and coordination. Instead of standing in front of executives delivering a presentation, you're going to be reading hundreds of feedback forms. You'll be studying support tickets and categorizing user complaints just to find common pain points. Like I said, you are the execution backbone for a senior product manager. So I really have to ask, who told you that? Who told you that you get to decide what features ship immediately? If you think you're just skipping the execution phase to go straight to high-level strategy, you're falling for the industry's biggest illusion. Let me tell you what your actual Tuesday looks like. It involves updating messy Jira tickets, reading angry customer support logs, and yeah, literally begging engineering to fix a typo on the settings page. But here is the secret. This tedious work isn't beneath you. It is the job. You simply cannot steer the ship until you know exactly how the engine works. And a massive part of that engine is the PRD, the Product Requirements Document. You see, when a senior PM decides on a feature, you, the APM, are the one forced to translate those vague, high-level goals into structured, shippable action. You are the one drafting the exact problem definition. You're writing out every single user story, and you're defining the precise acceptance criteria. Because without you doing this, the engineers literally do not know what to build. And that brings us to a pretty brutal product lesson you're going to learn the hard way. Not everything can be built. Prioritization is what defines product success. Honestly, an APM's true job is often just providing the exact data that proves to the sales team why their favorite pet feature actually belongs in the trash. You have to be the gatekeeper of reality. All right, Section 2, the solution, becoming the data backbone. So the absolute crucial point here is this. How do you actually thrive if you aren't the one making the decisions? Well, you become the person who controls the information. Your ultimate role is to make sure that product decisions are backed by hard evidence, rather than just vague assumptions or gut feelings. Sure, the senior product managers might make the final call, but they rely entirely on the data, the PRDs, and the competitive research that you provide. Bottom line, if you own the data, you own the influence. Let's do a quick reality check here. If you look at a dashboard and see that feature usage just dropped, what do? Do you just report the drop to your boss? No way. A killer APM doesn't just report the news, they investigate it. They immediately ask, why did it drop? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when you see that 10% drop, you don't just stop there. You dig in and ask the absolutely critical questions. When exactly did it drop? Which specific users were affected? And most importantly, what changed in the product to cause it? You aren't just surfacing a casual observation. You're actively building a case based entirely on facts. Moving on to Section 3, Tactical Playbook, the APM Survival Guide. So there are 3 core tactics you really need to follow. If you can master these 3 steps, you'll carve a crystal clear path forward through your entire first year. Let's break them down. Tactic 1, master the PRD.
Please do not treat a product requirements document like some boring bureaucratic chore. It's your primary tool for alignment. You've got to be absolutely ruthless about constraints. Define exactly what needs to be built and clearly explain why it matters. And here is the golden rule you need to memorize. If an engineer asks a question that isn't already answered in your document, well, you, the APM, have more work to do. You've got to answer all engineering questions upfront. Next up, Tactic 2, become the voice of the market. Look, if you want to influence strategy, you have to know the competitors better than literally anyone else in the room. Spend your downtime studying them, compare product features, and constantly monitor industry developments. Create those comparison tables and SWOT summaries, because when the senior PM inevitably asks if you're falling behind on a feature, you should already have that spreadsheet open and ready to show them.
And finally, Tactic 3, dig deeper into the analytics. Whenever you pull data, never ever stop at the surface level. You need to monitor the early performance of launches meticulously. Don't just track if the launch happened, track actual button clicks, track the specific user flows. I'm warning you now, building these deep, data-driven decision-making skills during your execution phase is honestly the only thing that's going to get you promoted later.
All right, Section 4, Synthesis, from execution to strategy.
And this brilliantly illustrates what it all comes down to, a really simple formula. Deep customer feedback plus flawless PRDs plus analytical rigor equals strategic influence. You simply have to embrace the execution, read the angry support tickets, thoroughly groom those messy backlogs, and write the detailed acceptance criteria. Because if you do all that, the strategy will inevitably follow.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. You might not be making the final decisions today, but are you building the evidence that makes the right decision completely undeniable? I challenge you to view those seemingly mind-numbing administrative tasks strategically. Master the execution, and the strategy will eventually be yours. By the way, let us know in the comments what your most mind-numbing APM task is. We'd love to hear it. And if you want to dive deeper into these frameworks, definitely check out our other explainer on quantitative versus qualitative metrics. All right, keep building.